So today I'm only focused on doing the work that I gotta do for today. Tomorrow I'll be focused on tomorrow.
What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with the recent physique update of Quinton Beastwood, which is a little more than 1 week out of his next show, New York Pro. So Quinton has been the talk of the town ever since he made the announcement that he's gonna be doing New York Pro, and against his teammate Nick Walker, and also some other guys like Tony Burton and Martin Fitzwater. So who can really beat Nick Walker in poses like the front double biceps and the front relaxed? Can Nick Walker actually beat Quinton Beastwood in that front double biceps? Just think about it for a second. A 5'7" guy going up against a guy who is 6'2". Not to mention a guy who has one of the best flow, the best symmetry, one of the most insane aesthetics in the men's open right now. I think Nick and Quinton are gonna be two of the most versatile physiques at the New York Pro stage this year. Because these guys represent the two extremes of the sport. One is extremely aesthetic, amazing flow, amazing symmetry. And the other one is a mass monster, the freakiness and the conditioning. So almost everyone who has an eye for bodybuilding, they admit that Quinton has all the potential in the world to be one of the top guys at the Olympia level. He can be in the first call out. So his attendance at the New York Pro this year, that will determine whether his time is now, or whether he has to invest more time, whether he still needs more size, more muscularity on his frame. For the record, Quinton is just 28 years old. And if we consider both Samson Dauda and Andrew Jack to be Olympia contenders, then we have to keep in mind, Andrew Jack is 39 years old, and Samson Dauda is also in his mid-30s. So Quinton also makes into the list of tall guys who can be a potential Mr. Olympia contender in the future. And maybe that is the direction of the sport right now. Tall guys will be dominating the sport in the future. And I have to point out one more thing here. And that is the thing that I have been mentioning throughout this time, since Quinton made the announcement of his comeback, that he has the ability to get peeled inside out. He can get in an insane level of conditioning. He can get that paper-thin skin. He can get shredded everywhere, for instance his glutes. And that is something we haven't seen from either Samson Dauda or Andrew Jack just yet. So really it is a win-win situation for Quinton Beastwood, especially if he places runner-up against Nick Walker. Because he's gonna lose to a guy who is top 3 in the world. And he will be beating guys like Tony Burton, who is top 8 in the world. And also Martin Fitzwater, who has been making a lot of noise since Detroit Pro this year. And if he's able to do that, his stocks are gonna absolutely skyrocket. And he will most probably get his Olympia qualification at Cali Pro.
My time is limited with the amount of work that I can do to improve. I think I got a couple more days left of really digging deep. So we digging real deep, you know what I mean? But we're gonna see what it do next weekend, baby.
So can he beat Nick Walker? Well, looking at Nick Walker's recent update, I have to say the chances of that happening are very slim. I think Nick is gonna be a lot more thicker, a lot more denser, especially from the side, as evident from this update here. Not to mention his side chest has always been one of the best in the men's open bodybuilding. And don't get me started on his back, that is gonna be absolutely lights out. And we have to keep in mind, Nick Walker is coming back after more than 1 year. We weren't able to see all his improvements from the Arnold 2023 to the Olympia 2023. And then he had a decent off-season before starting the prep for the New York Pro. And all the transformation pictures that we have seen from Nick Walker so far. He is looking so much impressive this time. He's more muscular, he's bigger, he's wider. So the chances of him losing the show here at the New York Pro, they are very slim. Stuart Sutherland, aka Beef Stew, also published a recent front double bicep shot, just over a week out of the New York Pro. And I have to tell you guys, the man isn't playing around. He is looking so damn impressive right now. Crazy V-taper. And the improvements that he has been able to make, they are absolutely crazy. And there is a reason each one of these guys think that they're gonna be the one challenging Nick Walker for the top spot. They are gonna place at least as high as second. And one of the reasons is that even though Quinton is coming back, but he hasn't been tested. And Beef Stew is also a guy who is coming out of a very long off season. And he seems to have made some major improvements in his physique during this time. Cali Pro 2023 was the last time Stu stepped on stage. So it took almost a whole year off. And we all know how much improvements can be made in 1 season if everything clicks perfectly. And again, I have to say that is a crazy looking front double biceps. And Stu is another one of those open pros who does justice to a vacuum. And in both shots, the front double biceps as well as the abs and thigh. So he lost the New York Pro to Tony Burton last year. And now that Tony Burton has also made a lot of improvements, this must be a rematch that both these guys will be looking forward to. and I believe this is gonna be another great battle here at the New York Pro. Angel Calderon also reveals crazy conditioning just over a week out of the New York Pro. And here is the thing, this is what is expected of him. I mean, the guy had striations all over his chest, even when he was 6 or 8 weeks out of the show. And if we are being 100% realistic, the conditioning is his only shot in a deep lineup like this one. And also his chance to test his physique in a deep lineup like this one. Try to out-condition these guys, because he lacks the symmetry, he lacks the aesthetics, especially in comparison to some of the top guys, like Tony Button and Quinton Beastwood as well. So this is certainly gonna be a big test for Angel Calderon, because he is a top 3 guy in the world in the 212 division. In fact, in 2022, he was actually top 2 in the world. But we have to keep in mind, even Sean Carrera struggled in the men's open division when he competed at the Arnold Classic 2023 last year. Some of his fans believed that he could win that show, but he ended up in 5th spot. So one advantage that Angel had over Sean is that he can come in a lot more bigger. But here is my question to you guys. If Angel here at the New York Pro looks a lot better than the Olympia last year, but still he places 5th, will he go back and do the Olympia in the 212 class? Or will he stay in the men's open division, try to compete more, try to get his Olympia qualification in the men's open division? So, the New York Pro this year is going to be one hell of a show, because it will reveal a lot of the answers. Brett Wilkins' physique update is next. He looks to be very much in the striking distance if he wants to do any show at 10 to 12 weeks mark. So, rumor is that he's going to be doing Tampa Pro, where he will be going up against John Del Rosa. And John just placed 4th at this year's Arnold Classic, Ohio. So it has been quite a few months in the making with Brett Wilkins, trying to rebuild his size back, which he lost after dropping out of the Olympia last year. And that was because of a digestion issue. And that actually forced him to drop all his size to take care of that problem. But he has put in a lot of work in these last few months, and he has been able to regain all his size back. So Brett isn't one of those guys who have a very big frame, but he has his own strengths. Like he can get more shredded than most of the guys out there. That guest posing that we just saw last week, that was just a glimpse of what to expect from him whenever he steps on stage in 2024. And I have to say, Brett looked absolutely massive at that guest posing, and with what we can call a very great guest posing conditioning. So Brett had his career's biggest hype and the most media coverage when he was getting ready for the Arnold Classic 2022, his first ever Arnold, where many of his fans and also the team around him believed that he's gonna be the one challenging Brandon Carey and William Bonac for the Arnold Classic title that year. So Samson Dauda was actually the one who made a lot of noise and a huge impact at that show. And Brett, on the other hand, quickly realized that he needed more size, that he needed more mass, he needed more muscularity if he wanted to challenge the top guys in the men's open. So the last time we saw Brett on the stage was at the end of 2022. That show was the Big Man Weekend. So it is gonna be really interesting what changes he brings up, how much improvements he has been able to make in almost 2 years. So Robert Timms hasn't announced what show he's gonna do next, but from the looks of his current updates, the man can step on stage sooner than anyone expects. I mean, the kind of conditioning that he has right now, he can probably step on stage in 2 weeks' time. He looks so ready, and that is the thing with Robert. Even at the starting point of the prep every year, his conditioning is just nuts. And maybe that is how his metabolism is. He cannot go above a certain body fat level. So it is Robert's 9th year in classic physique. And if he makes it to the Olympia stage this year, we will have 3 of the OGs. Breon Ansley, Robert Timms, and Terence Ruffin. The only 3 guys who competed at the first ever classic physique Mr. Olympia, and who are still actively competing. So maybe we are gonna witness another rematch at Texas Pro this year between Logan Franklin and Robert Timms. And both these guys have competed against each other twice already. And Robert was actually able to beat Logan Franklin both times at Texas Pro. And Logan Franklin is also prepping with a new coach this time, Patrick Truer. So he's going to be bringing a different level of conditioning this time around, something that has been missing from Logan throughout his career. And by the way, Logan too gave us a physique update, and he is also looking absolutely wild right now, given that this is just the start of his prep. And in fact, all of his recent updates in the last few weeks, they have been super impressive. So based on what we saw from Robert Timms last year, it is not going to be an easy task to beat him. And it isn't like he completely corrected the balance between his upper and lower half, but his legs did look more streamlined and much more balanced. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.